All right, hi again, students. So, first assignment for this week is going to read an article by a man named Philip Maffetone. He came up with the Maffetone method. I believe his background is in exercise physiology. Um, he's I've read some of his books and looked him up, looked up the people he's trained. He's trained some very high level triathletes, as the names that I recognize. His training principle is based on low intensity, so what we would consider closer to the aerobic end of the spectrum as far as exercise, right? On our exercise spectrum, we have aerobic and then we have anaerobic, right? If I'm going for a walk or if I'm just maybe I'm folding clothes, right? I'm largely aerobic. I do that exercise and I'm producing energy by the use of oxygen or through the use of oxygen, right? Means I'm burning fat, I'm burning carbs, whatever, but it's oxygen is being utilized. There's less waste products produced, such as like lactic acid, and so it's not limiting. I can do that for a long time, right? If you don't, nobody wants to, but I could fold clothes for a long time, or I can go for a walk for a lot further than say I could sprint, right? So sprinting or a power lift in the weight room is certainly more anaerobic, right? You don't use oxygen when you do for anaerobic activities. Not to say you don't use oxygen when you sprint, but a strictly anaerobic act, you don't burn oxygen when you create that energy. All these activities I've talked about and everything you do falls somewhere on this spectrum. It has some component that is anaerobic and some component that is anaerobic. It's just closer to one end of the spectrum or other. So again, Dr. Maffetone is saying train at that aerobic level, right? That level that is low intensity, the effort that feels easy, and then the efficiency will come. So later on the term, I'll introduce, he's got a training method for where you look at your heart rate and where you should keep your target heart rate when you're exercising. Anyway, you're going to read his article. It's about having fun when you're exercise and how that is a lot of times fun has been removed from exercise. So the question I want to ask you after you read that is, can you think of an example where this has happened, either something you've experienced, something you've witnessed? I would say an example where I've seen it is I used to teach elementary PE, and if I know that if I had my first graders out on the field and I said, hey, let's head over to that tree, and I just told them, let's go, all of them are probably going to run, right? And they're going to run and they're going to do cartwheels and they're spin and fall on the ground, and running is fun to them. Same thing if I have my fifth graders out on the field and I said, hey, we need to get over that tree, let's go. And if I told them to run, right, 10% would run and be happy about it. Maybe 40% or so would run just because they have to, and then half of them are going to walk part way, or they're going to complain the whole time. So somewhere in between that first grade group and that fifth grade group, and that's a generalization, of course, right? I know there's fifth graders that love to run, but somewhere in there, a lot of kids lose that enjoyment in running, which is obviously too bad, right? Because then we become adults that don't enjoy running, or it becomes, instead of something that's enjoyable, it becomes a chore. So he talks about that. I want you to give me an example if you've experienced that. Hey, running used to be fun, or exercise used to be fun, but this happened, and now I feel this way about it. So that one. And then also, can you tell me a way you can make running fun? So an example from me is this weekend I went with my wife and daughter, we went to Coronado. And I still woke up in the morning, went for my run like I usually do, but I really didn't see it as a workout. I just wanted to explore the island, right? So I got up and had my running shoes on and went out the door and just kind of toured around, not at a quick pace. I knew I wanted to find where the beach was. I wanted to find a park for my daughter. My wife wanted me to find an ice cream place, so we did that. Looked for a couple restaurants that we could go to. So it was more of an adventure than a workout, and that made it more enjoyable, more fun, right? I wasn't worried about my pace or how many miles I was doing, how many calories I was burning. It was an adventure, and that made it fun. So oftentimes that's how I make workouts fun, is just where you're going and what you're seeing. Other examples, because in our assignment I mentioned, I'm going to give you examples, is you do your workout with someone. Like I just mentioned, you change your route, you change your location. You can do silly things. I do silly things when I run sometimes, right? I'll run, cut through a park, cut through a playground, and maybe go across the monkey bars, or what have you. I'll skip at the beginning of my run or the middle of my run, right? Just make it enjoyable. Skip. It may look silly, but I always figure kids are some of our best models for running, right? If you just watch kids, they love running. Would a kid hesitate to skip during a run? Not at all. So make running fun, and I know there's structure to it. I know there's proper form, but I think the enjoyment has to come first. So that's just my personal opinion. So you're gonna tell me how you could make running fun, right? What do you do, or what have you tried? Try some of the things I just mentioned, but how can or do you make running or walking outdoors fun? That's it. So enjoy that, and I'll get to our next assignment here in a bit.